Hi everybody, it's Lydia here. So last week I took part in the Bout of Books Readathon and this is my roundup video, so let's take a look at what I read. So the first book I completed was Slated by Terry Terry. This is a YA dystopian novel and it's about a girl called Kyla who has had her memory wiped, or she's been slated by the government because she has supposedly been involved in some kind of criminal terrorist activity, and so they've wiped her memory in order to give her a fresh start. Or at least that's what the government tell her, and as the book progresses she begins to question it, and it's kind of a YA version of 1984 in a way. It's the first book in the Slated series and it takes a little while to get going, and it took me a little while to get into it because the first few chapters are kind of just establishing the world and what's going on, but once it gets going it's really interesting. And I think my favourite part about this book was the characters. Like you don't know who to trust. It's very much sort of characters really surprising you out of the blue. They'll suddenly do something, it's like, whoa, I didn't see that coming, and it was really great, and I'm really looking forward to the next book in the series, which is Fractured. So I will be definitely reading that soon, and I would really recommend checking Slated out if you haven't yet. So the second book I completed last week was Shades of Milk and Honey by Mary Robinette Kowal. I really love this book. Last week when I did my TBR I wasn't sure about it because I didn't know whether it was going to be my kind of book, but I really enjoyed it. It's basically kind of Jane Austen with magic and illusion added to it. And I've read a lot of kind of books that have tried to imitate Austen's style and the characters and those kind of things, and honestly a lot of them fall really short and they're just pale imitations, but this is so reminiscent but also unique and it works really well. It's so well written, but it really reminds you of Jane Austen. And I was really actually interested because at the end of the book, in the acknowledgements, she says that she used persuasion as kind of an inspiration for this. But for me, when I read it, I kind of really thought, oh, this is really Pride and Prejudice. So that was interesting. But I mean, it doesn't affect, it doesn't say anything bad about it. It's still a really good book, and if you like Austen and are kind of looking at this thinking, well, it's just another copycat, it's really not. Check it out. It's really interesting. It's kind of a modern take on it, but written in the same style. So check it out. I really enjoyed it. So the third book that I attempted for the Bout of Books was Paradise Lost by John Milton. This is a book that I have had on my TBR for years. I don't know why, it just sounded interesting and I thought, oh, this is cool, it looks fascinating, I'll read that. But when I got around to reading it, I kind of felt, this isn't for me. I'm sure it's one of those books that, everyone goes on about it, it's a classic, it's so well written and everything, and I think it's one of those things that it is great, but I'm never going to get on with it. The writing style was just too, I wouldn't say preachy, but sort of in that kind of style, and I just wasn't enjoying it. I didn't get very far at all, and I don't know, it just didn't grab me whatsoever, so kind of gave up on this halfway through the week, which is why I didn't finish it, and I probably won't be reading it or attempting it again. But that's what's good about these readathons. It makes you read books that perhaps you've avoided or meant to read for a while, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So yeah, maybe it will be for you. If you're interested, check it out, but it wasn't for me. So yeah, let's move on. So the next book that I read for Bout of Books was Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. Now I haven't finished this book, as you can see I'm just under halfway through, but I wanted to talk about it because I really love it. I'm not, as I say, I'm not halfway through yet, and I really love it. It's so well written, and it's quite unlike how I expected it to be, because it's, I thought, oh, it's really YA and it might be just like all, you know, there's a lot of fantasies that you think, oh, this sounds really familiar and it's very similar writing and everything like that. But this, it really surprises me, like, just in the language used and the issues that are brought up in it. It's quite adult, some of the things that are mentioned, and it really adds to it. But sometimes you read fantasies and it's a bit like, well, this is great and I love it and it's enjoyable, but it's very much fantasy, and I feel like there's a kind of something missing. With this, she hasn't kind of held back. It's very much this is what's going on, I'm going to be honest about it, it's horrible, there's a war going on, or there's all sorts of things going on, and I just really respect that in a writer, you know. It's about a girl called Kelsey, and she is the next in line for the throne in the Tearling, which is a country. I'm not really sure where this country is meant to be. It's kind of a continent, part of a continent, and it's in the world with, like, it's in our world, like, they mention, like, America, and it's called New England, the continent, so it's part of our Earth, but I'm not really quite sure where it's meant to be, sort of geographically speaking, but it's fascinating that she said it in this world, even though it is fantasy. I don't know, I just really find that interesting. But it's basically about this girl, and she is due to be the next queen, but there are loads of people out for her head, and it's kind of about how she wants to change this country that she is the ruler of, but there are a lot of people standing in her way who are not very nice. That's all I can say about it. It's the first part in the series, and I'm really enjoying it, and I can't wait to see what happens next. So that is it for my Bout of Books roundup. I didn't do very well this week. Life kind of got in the way, and yeah, I have no excuses. I just didn't read enough, really. I'm really sad I didn't get to read more, but it has kind of reminded me of all the books that I do want to read, so I have a lovely big pile of TBR books now, so hopefully I'll get around to them in the next few weeks, because there are a couple there that I really want to do videos on especially, so keep a lookout for them. I will link all the information about Bout of Books below, because there is another readathon in January next year. I think it's the 5th to the 11th, but don't hold me to that. But you can check all the info out below, and it's a really good readathon. As I said in my TBR, it's really great fun, it's really relaxed, and you're only competing against yourself, so definitely check it out if you're interested in it. Yeah, okay, that's it for this roundup. I will see you soon, so goodbye.